Hey, on this episode of The Monitors, we're going to take a look at Disney's Mulan, the new 2020 live-action adaptation version, the latest live-action adaptation of one of their animated classics. It's on Disney Plus, but it's at the Premier Access level, which means it's really expensive, so you might want to hear what I have to say about it first. And also, we're going to take a look at Netflix's original series, Away, starring Hilary Swank, which also dropped last week. This and a few extras here on this episode of The Monitors. And away we go. Mulan, the latest of Disney's live-action remakes. When I feature a film or a show on the monitors, I think of it as less of a critique and more of a reason to give you to watch it. So even if I might have some criticisms on the way, the takeaway is that there is more reason to watch than to not. That said, live-action Mulan is not a perfect film. Mulan is directed by Niki Caro, who is perhaps best known for Whale Rider and The Zookeeper's Wife with Jessica Chastain. It stars Yifei Liu in the title role, and she leads a pretty impressive cast which includes Donnie Yen, Gong Li, Jet Li, Zeke Ma, Rosalind Chow, and Jason Scott Lee, among many notable others. So let me get my gripes out of the way first. Mulan falls into all the traps of its live-action adaptation predecessors very neatly. We know the story as we have all seen it told before in beautiful Disney animation. The film, while having some differences, doesn't bring anything new. In fact, like The Lion King before it, it brings a little less. Yet the action sequences in this Mulan look like they would have worked much better if they were animated. There is wire work, of course, and it isn't horrible, but it's not the best I've seen. Admittedly, that's coming from a casual martial arts enthusiast who's never been on a wire harness in his life. It seems that a live-action version of this story would have been better served by grounding the story a bit more, particularly given some of the brutality of the battle scenes. It just feels uneven. This film also falls into yet another Disney trapping, the OP heroine. Mulan is obviously going to be depicted as a great and powerful warrior, but the explanation for her prowess is her connection to the Force. Her chi. Chi is not a new concept, but here it feels like it is being used just like the Force and serves as the only explanation for Mulan's savant-level fighting skills and ability to outright defy gravity. Once again, probably easier to forgive in animation. But if you're a family of 3 or more and want to stay in and enjoy a family movie, then you can go ahead and drop the $30. Niki Caro's film is beautiful. The cinematography and art design are worthy of the Mouse House. The color palette is lush and brilliant. The cast also makes the film worth the watch. Adding the likes of Zeke Ma, Rosalind Chow, Gong Li, and Ron Yuan in support roles gives the film a lot of credibility. You raise the bar even higher, casting martial arts legends like Jet Li as the Emperor and Donnie Yen as Commander Tong. Jet Li and Donnie Yen are 2 of my favorite martial arts actors of all time. How could they not be? Heck, I'll even say that they're 2 of my favorite actors, period. I admit when I first saw Yen, my investment in the film grew tenfold. Yosun An is sort of charming as a romantic tease. There is even a cameo from the original Mulan, Ming-Na Wen. Most of the credit here does go to Yifei Liu as Mulan. She is well cast as the duty and honor-driven warrior daughter. She by no means looks butch or mannish in her father's armor, but she looks just plain enough to pull it off in an environment where pretending to be a man, where a woman would never be, would give her just enough room to maneuver. I also love her performance. She's a minimalist, bringing just enough emotion to every scene to bring us along for the ride. Even if we don't understand her actions, we don't question them when she leaves home with her father's armor and sword, nor do we when she returns to her unit, revealing her identity, willingly facing death as a consequence. That is thanks to Liu's performance. Finally, when you get to the end of Mulan, it works for the same reason this story always works. As I said, this version doesn't bring anything new, but it tells the story just well enough not to muddy the message. At the end, it's validation. Netflix has entered the race to Mars with Away. Away is the latest serialized dramatization about a manned mission to the Red Planet. Some other notable entries into this subgenre have been Mars, which aired on Nat Geo for 2 seasons with a largely unknown cast. It was actually not bad, but it was a weird kind of hybrid of drama peppered with documentary excerpts about what a real journey to Mars would look like. That made it kind of clunky. Hulu also contributed in 2018 with The First, which starred Sean Penn in the lead. The First leaned way in the other direction, placing melodrama over the science fiction. It was also clunky, despite being well acted. Away stars Hilary Swank as Commander Emma Green, the leader of an international crew on its way to Mars in their spacecraft, the Atlas. The cast also stars Josh Charles, Vivian Wu, Mark Evanier, Ato Asando, Ray Pantaki, and Talitha Bateman. The cast is strong and is easily the best thing about Away. The showrunners tried to give all of the characters depth, depicting them as being well balanced with strengths and weaknesses. There are times it feels like conflict between the crew is manufactured just for the sake of creating dramatic tension, and frankly, often it's too much. But the performances make it tolerable. Swank is of course as good as you would expect her to be. She allows her character Emma to be imperfect but not weak. She has believable reactions to the constant challenges to her authority and continuous distractions that come from home. Josh Charles plays her homebound husband, Matt Logan, who is a former astronaut himself but was grounded due to illness. He is good, despite the fact that he underplays a lot. Still, he and Swank have a really strong chemistry, despite the fact that their characters are separated for much of the story. Some other standouts in the cast are Mark Evanier as cosmonaut Misha Popov. Vivian Wu is sensational as Chinese astronaut Lu Wang, and Talitha Bateman is very strong as Emma and Matt's daughter Alexis. Away feels like it tries to strike a balance between Mars and The First. There is sufficient melodrama and character conflict in Away, much like The First, but they still try to keep much of the story focused on technical complications that arise during their mission, which makes it feel more like Mars on those occasions. Still, I'd say that Away and The First have much more in common, especially in choosing Academy Award-winning actors who starred in Academy Award-winning Clint Eastwood films as leads. But overall, Away is bingeable, but not necessarily the easiest binge. There are moments of monotony that feel like they could have been cut. They tried to break those moments up with tributes to Apollo 13, meaning that the Atlas was obviously assembled by the lowest bidder because it had more problems than my first car. But there really isn't anything that we haven't seen before in this type of story. Perhaps Away just deserves credit for pulling it off a little better. While I'm not chomping at the bit for Season 2, I wouldn't mind seeing what happens next in this journey. Meanwhile, if you're looking for a good-looking, well-produced, and well-acted Mars series, Away checks that box. If you would like to leave a comment below about anything you saw or heard today, please feel free to do so. Remember, be respectful. Please come back and see us. Click that subscribe button, and you can come back for new content. Also, please give us a like. Working hard here to bring you fresh content. You guys be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. Peace. We're out.